I'm so glad to have this opportunity to speak with you here on The Voice, 17104 Harrisburg. We have a very special guest tonight, Mr. Lamont Jones, activist, community activist, who's running for Harrisburg City Council. And I'm so glad he stopped by to kind of tell us all about his platform and why he decided to run. Lamont, welcome to the show, man.
All right. Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate you, Mr. Gadsden.
Absolutely.
It's been a pleasure. Been working around you for years. You yourself has put a ton of work in to help better our city. And it's just a great opportunity to be here and share some of my platforms and things that I plan to try to get done with our city.
All right. All right. Well, I know you're on the case, man. I've seen you in many different capacities doing things, went through the MLK Leadership Development Institute. You've been working with a lot of good men who we call them returning citizens, guys who come back out and made a difference big time. And, you guys have established yourself big time. So glad to see you running for office. That's one of the things people are concerned about these days. A lot of folks won't step up to the plate. They
Yes.
talk about things, but they won't step up. So tell us about why you decided to run.
Well, one of the main reasons is, like as you said, working with the reentry population and just being a lifelong resident here in Harrisburg, I've seen a lot of the good things that Harrisburg has to offer. And, I also see the turmoil that we're going through now. And not to say that there's a lack of leadership. I just think that our voices can be a lot louder than they are today. And the conditions that we are living in the city, our children, our schools are falling apart. We have a failing school system. Our local government is in disarray. And I just think that we just gotta find a way to bring all of those pieces back together. And someone like me is willing to do that. I'm willing to step up to the plate and all of the challenges that come with this to better our city and move our city forward. And it's going to take not just someone like myself, even our elders, the people that have been the stones that we're all standing on now. There's been work done way before me. My family is a lifelong family that has put in a lot of work to help move our city forward. And a lot of those family members have passed away. And I just felt it was time, we're in a space where we need to start breaking generational curses, right? And I just felt it was time for me. I have been breaking generational curses for the past 15 years. From a young man getting in trouble, being incarcerated, being able to come back out into society and repair my life first, and then help so many others repair theirs. And I just believe it's time for our voices to be strongly heard and put those pieces back together. So for me, it's a necessity that I run today to speak up to a lot of the things that are wrong in the community. We have a lot of voices that are unheard. We have a lot of populations, particularly the Black and brown populations, that are unheard here in the city of Harrisburg. And I just want to be that voice. So that's one of my main reasons for running.
All right, fantastic. Well, there's so many issues, man, especially when you start talking about a city. And Harrisburg is not the biggest city in the state, but it's a big enough city to have, a lot of major problems and a lot of great things as well happening here. So when you think about what you want to tackle first and what's first and foremost on your agenda, and if you had to prioritize some things, where would you start?
Public safety.
Okay.
Public safety is a huge issue in our community, and it ties right into the work that I've been doing for the numerous years. Why does crime exist in our city? Why does crime exist anywhere? Let's start there and ask ourselves those type of questions. Most likely, it's because there's a lack of resources.
Yeah.
There may be people that are sitting in places where the resources are, and not letting them go and letting them flow to the people. So that's a huge issue. Just speaking with the residents, I've been on tons of doors so far, and my team has been on doors so far. And the sentiments they're echoing each other. There's huge problems with blight in our community, trash, illegal dumping, youth violence. There's a lot of things that We can look at street lights, dim street lights, the relationships between the police and the community. There's so many things that we can tackle when it comes to public safety. And I believe our city, our elders, and our youth deserve an opportunity to live in a city that is crime-free, that is flowing in the right direction for all people to have a living, I don't want to say a living wage. We'll talk about that later. But just to have a good quality of life here in our city. And I've seen that from our cycle-town reunions. This was one of the biggest things in the city of Harrisburg. I was blessed enough to be able to see the village that everyone speaks about. Can we get back to that? I believe so. So public safety is one of the issues that we have to tackle. We have slumlords. We have a lot of construction going on in our community where I believe small ecosystems can be created to help change some of the lives and train some of the individuals that don't have skill sets to get to those resources that are readily available for us. So that's one of the top priorities is public safety.
Fantastic. Just a heads up. I hear you, but your sound's a little fuzzy. I just want to make sure the public is hearing you nice and clear. I don't know if there's anything you can do about that, but
Well,
good stuff so far. So say something again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you a little bit clearer. That's good. Okay. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
Okay.
I apologize.
No problem.
Like I said, I was having computer issues.
Yeah.
So,
I just want to make sure the folks can hear you. You're good. You're good. Okay.
All right.
So, man, listen, so you'll be in a position on the city council, of course, you represent the city and, the residents and all that. And, in a sense, you're one of the people that will help to sell the city, to people who are coming into the city or, business people who are trying to make it here in the city. Well, you're a lifelong resident of Harrisburg. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
What points of strength do you think you would sell the city of Harrisburg on? What would you tell somebody that would make someone want to live here and work here and thrive here?
Well, of course, every city has a culture, and Harrisburg is unique. We're a group of individuals. We love hard, and we can get angry quickly as well. So I would tell them, when you try to come into our city, make sure that they do their research. Make sure that they know that this is not a city where you can just come in and run over its residents. And that's the voice I plan to project, to speak for all the residents here, that, this is not a place where we're just going to lay down and let anyone come in and do what they want to do. It may seem that that's happening today, but I know that there are people in so many pockets working. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to speak closer to this.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, because I don't know why you can't. I'm gonna try to adjust my.
Don't worry about it, man. As long as you're close like that, that's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so just let them know, this is a beautiful place to live, a beautiful place to raise your children, a beautiful place to retire and live out a full life. But again, you have to be very mindful of the culture here. You have to be very mindful of the residents. We seek to have opportunity. I don't mind people coming into the city of Harrisburg. However, you can't just come into the city and do business in the city and not with the city. Yeah. That means that, all the construction that we're seeing going on here, how come anyone isn't getting any jobs? And I would turn my ear and eye to the reentry population and even our young students that are going to school. Our school systems need to have more of the trades so we can get involved in some of these contracts, so people can have more jobs. If you can remember back, I'll say 70s, 80s, you can think of some of the companies that were here. We had IBM, Olivetti, even the steel mill. These are the places. These companies were here, and it was allowing families to live properly, to at least provide and put food on the table. We're such in a dire space all across the country But since we're here in Harrisburg, we have to turn our ear and eyes to that. So I would tell them, just make sure that you go talk to these residents and don't just come in to gain a monetary value off of the backs of the residents that are already struggling. Try to come in and get to know them. Sit down with those communities that you want to build in. See how you can, bring them together and have them join in some of the rebuilding, because we take pride in our city. We take pride in our neighborhoods. So it's very hard when you have people buying properties. Let's just go there. People buying properties in our community, and they don't live here. So they just go back to their home states and then not really take care of the properties that are here. And that tears our communities down. And we want to speak to that. I want to be the voice to speak to that. I want to make sure that our residents shouldn't have to live beside abandoned, dilapidated properties where there's drug use, rodents, horrible smells. I mean, no one should have to live like this in our city. So I would make sure that they are very aware of those conditions and former contractors that have come into our city and left our city in that way. So we just won't stand for that anymore. And just as long as they know that and are willing to work with the people here, the local people, the residents, that the heart of this community, then we could definitely sit down and have conversations.
That's great stuff. Part of the issue has always been, the average citizen and then the business person. Businesses come into Harrisburg and, some of them thrive and some of them up and leave. And we've lost a few. And of course, the whole country's been affected by, like you said, the pandemic. But here in Harrisburg, we have a unique situation where all of a sudden we had a restaurant row, and that's been cultivated over the years and everything. But now we're hearing a lot about, back to your point about policing and everything and public safety, there's a lot of issues downtown there, And so then business people start thinking, maybe I need to go somewhere else. So have you, are you experiencing that businesses are shaky? Is the city council currently working with the Chamber of Commerce and the business people in the area to make this a better community?
Well, I'm sure they are. However, we need to make sure, making sure that we're holding these contractors accountable. See, when you're at city council, you're vanguard for the people that live here. We can't just allow anyone to come in and do business. Yeah, some of these buildings and businesses are beautiful, but we're not sharing in it. They're still pulling in and siphoning the money out of our communities. Restaurant Row was a good place. It still is a good place. I think it could be better. We can make Harrisburg so much better today. I used to travel as a young man to different cities, especially going below the Mason-Dixon. And I thought that we were pretty advanced here in the city of Harrisburg to be such a small place, though we are the capital of Pennsylvania. I just thought that we were a little bit more advanced, because when I traveled down south, it seemed like it was slow. It was a little behind. But now I'm starting to get that feeling right here at home. And we can't stand for that. We can't allow our city to go to the dumps. There's a lot of construction. There's a lot of business that is happening here. And again, we have to be able to join in on that. And then we have to want these things. See, people come from different places, different states with these great ideas, but they don't fit the city of Harrisburg. They're not here for us. It's there for them to make money. So I think that this current council has been doing a decent enough job to when it comes to that. But I think, again, we need to have stronger voices there and someone that is not afraid. And that's Lamont Jones. I'm not afraid to speak truth to power. I'm not afraid to speak up when there's something wrong. John Lewis said, good trouble. When I was a young man, I got myself into trouble. I made bad decisions. And then, I paid my debt to society, and then you come back into the same society, and then you put your work in, right? But then the society says, you're not good enough. But then you watch the business that's flowing through our city, and again, our residents are suffering because of it. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of work to be done, Mr. Gadsden. It really is.
Mhm. You know, there's a lot of talk about other states and what's going on down south at this point, Florida, Texas, and you know, they have some governors down there that are stirring it up, talking about critical race theory. They don't want to teach certain things in our schools and banning books. You know, shipping the migrant workers who are making it into not migrant workers, but you know, they call them illegal aliens, right?
Right.
People coming from the South, South America, who are desperately looking for a better way. And so there's some sanctuary cities in our communities and stuff. But you have these two states in particular I know of that are putting people on buses and shipping them to New York and other places, just trying to overload the system. There's a lot of un-American stuff going on these days. Let me just put it that way. What's your feeling about all that kind of, you know, shenanigans when it comes down to Republicans and Democrats?
Well,
Some of these
you
bigger
know,
issues. Mhm.
we have huge issues, and that is a problem. I can remember, I think Fidel Castro did that at one point.
Mhm.
He put a bunch of all of the worst of the worst, put them on a
Yeah.
boat, and shipped them on over to America,
Mhm.
down in Miami. And then you
Yeah.
see what happened in Miami. Of course, they built Miami. However, there was a lot of violence. There was a lot of things. So that's something that we just can't stand for. We can't allow it, and we have to speak up as a community, as a state, as a country. We have to speak up to this, and we know the type of lives that we live here in our own communities. And for some people to do things like that, it's just not right. It's horrible.
Mhm.
To be frank about it, it's horrible, and we can't allow it to continue to happen. Now, I will say this:
Mhm.
people have a right to live wherever they want to live in the world. You know,
Mhm.
this is God's planet. You understand? So we can live wherever we want, but there has to be order. There has to be a level of respect, and no one should be forced into situations like that. It's like we can look at slavery. We were forced into a servitude,
Mhm.
um, which we probably would have did the work anyway. We were building. We built this country, you know.
Mhm.
So I don't think you should have to force people into that. Now, what is the plan? Why are they doing this? That's the big question. What are they trying to
Mhm.
do? Break the system itself, and
Mhm.
it definitely needs a rehauling. But yeah, that's just something that I don't agree with, and I don't think it should be happening, especially forcefully.
Mhm. So, you know, we have different segments of our community, such as the elderly, our youth, of course, reentry citizens, gay and lesbian, you know, LBGT community.
Yes,
You have the Hispanic, you know, neighborhoods, the African American predominant neighborhoods. You have a lot of people now that are coming into the community for the oh my goodness, I'm gonna blow the name. Um, the by oh boy, what is it called? What are they I forget it, but anyhow, I noticed a lot of them live up on Green Street, up in the division.
okay,
Uh, yeah, that whole community is coming in. And so, you know, there's a lot of different factions and stuff like that. How do we pull these factions together, especially in these times, man? You know, the church, it still says it's the most segregated time in America, you know, 11 o'clock on a Sunday, because we all have our own different churches and that kind of thing. We don't come together. Um, we are sectioning ourselves off as neighborhoods. You know, I noticed that
yes,
the Bhutanese, is that what it's, I think it's the Bhutanese community
okay,
has really grown. It's really, you know,
yes,
are we really adequately addressing their needs and stuff like that? So in city council, pretty much the whole community comes to city council, can voice their opinion and, you know, all this kind of stuff. But I noticed that at times, I'm not saying it's happening now, but at times there was a lot of division, even on the city council, a lot of infighting. You know,
yes.
what would you try to bring to city council in terms of being able to be a stabilizing force and also bringing more of these communities together so that they can work together, not so much across purposes?
That's right. We have to be more inclusive. We have to be more inclusive and make sure that everyone is represented. Everyone deserves a right to be represented, no matter their background, no matter their sexual orientation, their skin color. Everyone has a right to be represented. So for me, being a bridge builder, that would be one of my jobs. I think, how can we represent, how can I or anyone that's a city council member represent this community, and you're not in it,
Mm, mm,
and you're not from it? See, even if you're not from it, and if you took the time to learn the people here, I think you deserve an opportunity to represent the people that you went out and met and met with and speak for. You can see how every one of these populations are struggling. There's a huge language barrier in our community. Like you said, the Bhutanese, you have the Latino community. There's just so many different language barriers that are here, Arabic, African, and are these people being represented?
Right.
Are they being spoken for? So we have to go out, like Jesus did this, Reverend. I don't want to get biblical, but Jesus was able to go where the drunkards were, where the people were suffering the most. He didn't wait for them to come to him. He went out and did that. And that's me. That's a person that I want to be. That's a person that I've been for the last 15, 20 years. Mainly all my life, I didn't know all of the things that were happening, but being able to be re-educated and have more of a stance in the community, it has allowed me to see that everybody needs to be represented. And when I watch city council meetings and watch the people, the residents in these communities go and speak about how contractors are coming in and just, they're not even speaking to them. They're gonna say, hey, we're just gonna throw this building up. Or now what if they do that in the Bhutanese population? They don't speak English, so they don't understand what's going on. They need to be represented. Everyone needs to have representation down there. And I intend to be doing what I'm doing today, being a fixture in this community and speaking to the woes in the community and finding those solutions. See, when you think of a resolution at city council, to me, I will look at a root word and say resolve. So we can write and resolve an issue that is happening in the community. So now I'm building bridges with the Latino community. I've been speaking with people from the LGBTQ plus community. Everyone needs representation. So I think that's what we should be doing today.
Fantastic, fantastic. My screen just kind of went out on me. I'll be right back.
Yep. Also, just to add to that, it's I have to speak strongly about the reentry population. I really have to speak to that because, again, when people put in the work to go change their lives, they can see better, because there's a saying: if you know better, you can do better, right? So now I've taken the time to reacclimate myself as a humanitarian, as a citizen, as a father, as a son, a cousin, a nephew, just as a Homo sapien. You understand? And that takes a lot of work. But to continue to be rejected is hurtful. And I don't think that society understands what this can do to someone's psyche. So I can feel the pain of a Bhutanese or Vietnamese, Latino, all of these different populations that exist here in Harrisburg. I know the feeling because I've been through it, you know. So why not have someone that understands it and be that bridge builder? And I think the community knows that. I never promoted the work that I've done. I just did the work. So this has been very hard, and I have to share this with you. This has been very hard for me because I have to talk about a lot of the things that I've done, because I'm not looking for recognition or any accolades for this. I think we all have a moral duty and a responsibility to repair our communities, repair people's lives, and give them the opportunity to live. So, you know, that's what I intend to bring to the City Council of Harrisburg.
That's good stuff. That's absolute great stuff. And, you know, you're working on a council now. You'll have other people run. In fact, the field for people running is pretty crowded right now. Is that right?
Yes, it is. And just to speak to that, and I have to, again, I wouldn't be myself if I wouldn't speak candidly. Right? Everybody has an opportunity to run. What I'm trying to put on display here today, and what I'm trying to do, I don't want to talk about any other candidates or what they're doing and what they're not doing. I'll leave that to anybody else that wants to play politics. See, I'm not a politician, you know, and I'm not looking for a position, Reverend Gadsden, Mr. Gadsden, you understand? I'm not looking for a position. the purpose that I'm doing here. I'm not running a campaign. This is a movement to let people know that I don't have to fight with you. I don't have to argue with you to make myself look better. And we see a lot of that in politics all over the world. Like, this is the politics way. And as I'm explaining this to people in the communities, that's some of the things that they say, well, you know how politics is. Yeah, I understand that, but it doesn't have to be that way. So everybody has a right to run. And I'm glad that all of the candidates that are running, I wish them well. And I'm glad that they're also stepping up. And want to see, now I would ask, you know, what is their purpose? Is it permission? Is it just to say, hey, I ran for city council? That's not me. I want to do something about the issues that we're having in our city. So again, I wish all of the other candidates well, but I want to make sure that I'm running a clean race. Talk about other individuals, because our city needs someone that's going to face and talk to the issues. And that's it. I don't have to talk about everybody else. I just want to make sure that we stick to the issues that are happening in our community and make sure that we can find ways to bridge those gaps. Again, we have a failing school system, you know, and that's bad. We have to educate our children.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have to prepare them. I don't want to be a career politician. I don't want to sit on city council for 16 years, 20 years. I don't want to sit on city council for that long. Because if you're there for a purpose, you go in and you get that purpose done to the best of your abilities. And if you go, you move on to the next thing. But in the interim of that, you want to make sure that you're rearing the next person. I intend to work myself out of a job. I can't speak for the other candidates. For me, I want to make sure that I'm working with my elders. We have to blend that too. Because see, some of the elders think that we want to just send them to old folk homes. Lamont Jones needs you. I know you have wisdom. I want to stand in your street. I want to work with you. Because I don't know it all. You've been here before me. You've seen more than I've seen. So I need you just as well as you need me. I have the health. I have the courage to keep moving us forward. So I think we should work together in that aspect, and we'll have a great city again. I promise we will. No question about it. The kind of energy you're talking about, brother, I know you have it, and I know you display it, and you get it done. Now, council, how many people, we know a lot of people running, how many seats are actually, you know? There are actually 3 seats available this term. Okay. I believe there are 8 candidates vying for 3 council seats. Right. And in the last 2 years, and I felt the need to do this too, Mr. Gadsden, is I served as a Civic Engagement Manager with a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization by the name of One Vote Counts, right? And that role, my role was to go out and civically engage and get the people engaged in the electoral process, educate them on their electoral process, because I believe that's still some of the reasons why our city is going in the direction that it's going in, because we're not educating the population that is here. And I spent the last few years doing that, going into Dauphin County Prison and letting those individuals that are housed there know that they still have the right to vote, as long as they're on pretrial status, meaning as long as they're not sentenced, that they can still cast an absentee ballot. Going into the corners, all the same corners I used to hang on as a young man, and going around the bars, blowing up the redistrict maps, the newly redrawn maps that we had, and explaining to them what has happened here and how this directly affects them. So even if no one votes for me, they can vote for any candidate that they want. This is how serious this is. We have to get out and vote. Our voting numbers are very low. And you see the last mayoral election, our current mayor won this election with 1,700 votes. In the city, the population of 50,000, over 33,000 registered individuals. 1,700 votes, that's not good. I'm not saying, her position, I'm just saying Winning an election with 1,700 votes in a city that big, that means our turnout is horrible. And I take offense to that because I know Harrisburg has more to offer. We have way more to offer when it comes to paying attention. We're paying attention to a lot of the things that are plaguing us. And a lot of people don't understand how to go about where those grievances should fall.
That's right.
So we need someone, and that's what I plan to do. We need someone, we need a body that is going to make sure that our residents are educated. See, I want to be able to, when I know that these contractors want to build a low income complex right in the smack of your neighborhood where there's been homeowners for over 40 years, what can that do to the property value of those residents that have been there? I'm not saying that we do have a housing issue. We have a homeless situation.
Oh, yeah.
And there's so many different things that are going on. And I don't feel that those voices are being heard. And I want to be that representative. So yeah, man, there's a lot of work, Bev. There's a lot of work.
Yeah. You know, we've had, some major changes in the city. We lost some good people and all that good stuff, but emerging leadership continues to rise. And you're a perfect example of that. And I know that there's some other people who are vying for the seats and they also are on the case, it's a good thing. But oftentimes, though, I do wonder whether or not, you guys do so much and then you have to go up against so much opposition. Obviously, you think it's worth it to, run for the seat and everything. But how do you keep your compassion up and you don't experience compassion fatigue? Because sometimes when you get to argue with other people and people disappoint you with all the stuff to do, how do you keep your passion up for the job?
Well, the passion is just there, and I'm hoping that the residents and your listeners can hear it. Not only hear it, I hope they can feel it.
Okay.
This is something that's not going to go away from me because I can keep the passion up. The reason why? Because I live in the heart of the city. I walk out my door every day and I see it. And I see that people really don't understand what's happening. Then we have people manipulating our political process. See, and this is what our community, and again, I wouldn't be me if I wouldn't speak to these things. We have people like right now, how many people are actually thrown in the race to throw off the numbers so whoever's pulling the strings behind it can get what they want out of this?
Oh, yeah.
And again, the people will continue to pay. So I asked our city to use discernment. You know that you've seen Lamont Jones for years working on the corners in some of the most brutal areas, working with our youth, continuously working with those citizens returning from incarceration that don't have a way to go. See, that's how I'm going to keep the passion because I live here and I feel it, and I can walk out of here and I can see the trash that's illegally dumped. I can see where there's street lights that need to be brightened up, where there's street lights that traffic lights that need to be erected. Because these are dangerous areas. No one has to walk me around. I've been working on political campaigns for the last 4 cycles, right? And I have to work with some of the individuals that aren't that live in the heart because their races didn't call for a city race, it called for a county-wide, but they did have to visit the city of Harrisburg. And when I listen to their platforms, it was never about money. It was never about money. You have to believe in what you're saying that you're going to bring to the city. And if I buy into that, I will vie for you. I will go out and fight and spread your message. But now I just think it's time for me to do that because, again, I think we're missing so much of that. And that passion is there because I live right here. And I know that there are people that are working against the best interests of the residents of the city. And when I say the residents, I include myself because I live in the heart of it. So the passion won't go away. Even when I feel as though I've accomplished some things and made some change somewhere. Give you an example, Dauphin County Prison. Now I told you as a young man, I've been incarcerated, right? So now I serve Dauphin County Prison Advisory Committee.
All right.
Now what I do there, I work with the county commissioners, district attorney, been doing this for a few years now. And my voice has not only been heard, along with other members, but there has been implementation of the things that we know and I know directly because I was there that are impacting the people that are there, that are living there and their families. See, we got to bring our families back together. I think the Black family is completely in disarray. And we have to do something about that. So the passion is going to be there until I see these necessary changes that our city needs to have. And when that happens, hopefully I can get some rest. But until then, my foot is going to be on the throttle. And you're right, there is fatigue. There is such thing as burnout. But I find to get that solitude, I do that self-audit. I use my belief system to make sure I have the strength. I invoke the strength of my ancestors to make sure that I have the strength to continue on. Because again, this is not about a position. You have to have purpose. And the purpose is to make sure that we all can live a peaceful life here on the planet Earth, but again, particularly here in the city of Harrisburg. So there's going to be sacrifices that are made. People all the day, people before us did it. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Patrice Lumumba, Fred Hampton. There's so many people that sacrifice for us as a people to get to this point. I don't want to see that die.
So, just a couple years ago, actually, was it last year or 2 years ago? Time flies, but Black Lives Matter movement really caught on after the execution of Floyd Stokes. They're in public view.
George Floyd.
And
George Floyd.
Say it again.
George Floyd. Floyd Stokes is still here, baby.
Yeah, George Floyd. Who did I say?
Floyd Stokes. He's a good man. He's still here.
I said Floyd Stokes. Floyd, forgive me, brother. But yeah, no, Floyd's still here, very much still here. No, but George Floyd. And that, when the rise of, the Black Lives Matter movement, it took place all over the world. I mean, the entire world stood up and said, no, So that energy was real. And then it sort of got usurped when they started throwing stuff out there about defund the police. Do you think that was an accident? Or do you think that was really a strategy? I always thought that was planned, man. I don't know. That's just me.
Hey, listen, you're paying attention. You've been around. You've seen a lot, right? So, of course, you've seen a lot. It's definitely been a plan. It's always been a plan, and this isn't anything new. It's just that the era that we're in, technology, now we're getting the information instantaneously. And see, and the people that are disseminating this information, they'll play these videos over and over and over and over and over again. So they're tapping in to the emotions of the people to move them in a direction that they want them to move in. But see, if we stay true to ourselves, we'll be able to see clearly what's going on. So now, why isn't Black Lives Matter's voice still loud today? See, we can't keep waiting and be reactivists.
Yes, that's right.
We have to make sure we can get in front of this. I mean, we can go all the way back to Emmett Till.
Oh, yes.
Up to Tamir Rice, Alton Sterling, Freddie Gray, Sandra Bland. There's so many names, Trayvon Martin. There's so many other names that are out there that this continues to happen. It continues and continues to happen. So we have to make sure that we're not getting played and controlled by the narratives that are being placed upon us because of social media and journalism, things of that nature. So places like The Voice is a great place. Shows like yours, Ron Chappell. I mean, all the podcasts that are young professionals of color. You have Dr. Kamika Campbell. You have so many people that have these platforms where we're allowed to tell our stories. We can't continue to allow other people to tell our narrative. We have to get in front of our narrative and control our own narrative. We know what's happening. Again, I can walk out my door and see what's happening.
That's right.
How can I allow someone else to tell me what's going on when I know I'm suffering from it? So, yeah, it's definitely a plan.
This last couple of weekends, my wife and I went down to York one time and Lancaster another time. We went to see The Wiz, which was outstanding down in Lancaster, I believe. And then we went down to York and we saw a tribute to Aretha Franklin. Outstanding, But it hit us that why are these things in Lancaster and York, and we should have these kind of cultural programs happening in Harrisburg. We have great theater in Harrisburg, especially thanks to Sankofa African
Yes.
American Theater Company with Sharia Ben. And then you have some outstanding productions that, through Open Stage and also Gamut Theater and the Harrisburg Theater. But the point being, they're not on what we just saw this past couple weekends here. But, these were like Broadway shows almost that they brought in. And I'm thinking, how come Harrisburg doesn't have this, man? So as far as the cultural landscape, and I know we're going to run out of time here, but as far as can we do better? Can we, get some of these bigger venues flowing through here so that our residents aren't seen as second-class citizens?
You went out a little bit. Can you say that last part again?
This thing is really messing up right now, and I have to, Brother Chris is telling me I have to read. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yes, I don't see you, but I can hear you.
Yeah, there it goes. Yeah, it's really messing up. I'm gonna see if I can reset this thing, get it cleared up. But anyhow, no, I'm just saying our cultural landscape, I think, could be bigger. We could have more quality theater, quality, acts coming through here, especially considering our population is, I don't know what it is in terms of African Americans, but someone said it was about 65 to 70% African American, maybe a little bit more. And so how come we're not seeing those major African American shows and things come this way? We're the capital city, but they're in Lancaster and York.
Yeah, I think that goes to some of the planners. Now, again, I love what the young professionals of color are doing with the Juneteenth thing. I believe in that. I believe it should be a whole lot bigger. I believe in the cultural festers that we have for the Latino community. That is huge as well. But it just comes down to, again, us getting in front of it. We can't sit back and wait for people to do things for us. See, I think we need to make sure that we get back and re-beautify our park. Reservoir Park is a place where we have African fest, and we can do all of these things again. Everything that you just mentioned, we are culturally rich here in this city. Mm-hmm. It's a mixture of everybody. And so why aren't we seeing these things? We need people to keep moving forward. Like you mentioned, Sankofa. It's just like being in the entertainment industry. We had to watch a lot of shows that didn't cater to the Black population or the brown population. And now we have our own TV show. Now, we have to be careful because we don't want to just put out any message. Again, this is another place that we have to control and create our own narrative.
Absolutely.
So, we just have, we can do it. Just connecting the dots. And there's a lot of people out here doing it. And we may not see them, but being on the ground, as much as I'm on the ground, I can see plenty of it happening. Now it's time, Mr. Gadsden, to bring those things together and push them to the forefront. And I guarantee you, we'll see a lot of change here in the city of Harrisburg.
Well, I'm with you on that one too. And again, I apologize for all of the mess up with my camera here, but
it's okay.
Some good stuff, man. Really good stuff. Someone did send me something. I'm not sure who it was. They said that they went to see the Anne Frank and Emmett Till play that was put on by Sankofa 21. I keep saying that, Sankofa African American Theater Company. And I bet you they're saying it was outstanding because Sharia Ben doesn't put on anything that's not outstanding as far as I'm concerned. And so, I wanted to see that as well. I hope it continues to run. Let's see. Okay.
And to your point, a lot of those films are surfacing where a lot of this information was buried. The Emmett Till story, you had the Black Messiah, you have so many different movies that are coming out, and we have to be careful that we are telling the real stories because, as you know, a lot of our stories were taken out of the history books. Black history is American history.
That's right.
That's a fact. And it's a fact. We have to make sure that we are telling that story. When we have this knowledge, see, I want to leave this place empty. I'm talking about when I leave this planet, I want to leave empty. I want to leave everything here. I don't want to leave no stone unturned. I want to make sure all the pieces of information that I have, all the expertise that I have, all of the knowledge, I want to make sure that we pass this along to the next generation. And I think that's what you call being generational. You know,
Yeah,
we have to
absolutely.
make sure that we're
Yeah.
doing things in that way. So it
I
can be
got
done.
Oh yeah, no question about it. And I have to take hats off to Linwood Sloan and all the people behind him, to
Oh man.
Sharia Ben, to so many people who remembered the 8th Ward and
Oh
there's
man.
some programs there. And now
We're
you had
gonna
that.
need another hour. We can talk about the 8th Ward.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. There's a beautiful monument downtown Harrisburg, right there on what street is that? That would
Coming off of Market.
coming off well off
Walnut.
6th. I'm talking
I
about the
thought you meant
statue.
the one. I thought you meant the one right where the Capitol is down there.
Yeah, that's isn't that
That's Walnut.
Walnut? That's okay. I
Yeah.
thought you said Market. Walnut. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. It's beautiful, man. That's really, and I hope more people discover that, you know?
Yeah, but it's a beautiful piece, and
Mhm.
not wanting to offend anyone,
Mhm.
but that whole area was African American, and I just think that's just a small monument.
Oh, it is. It is.
It's too small for how big of the culture that was there, and that's my point. I hope that doesn't
Okay.
affect.
And I'm not going to argue against you on that one. That's a good point, brother. That is, because
Yeah.
that was tremendous. Yeah, good stuff. But you know, and I will say it's a beginning in the sense that it's never been there before. So at least
That's
now
right.
we know, you know.
That yes,
But
right.
you may
We
be
got to
right.
start
Though.
a kid.
Yeah,
We got to start a kid.
Well, look here, man. I know we run out of time, and I really appreciate you coming on. And I got to say to the audience that Brother Lamont stepped up at the last minute and came on. He's running for Harrisburg City Council. He is nobody that's just jumped out of here, you know, coming out of nowhere. Brother's been active for years now, doing great stuff, along with a lot of other good men who, you know, aren't afraid to be men. And also they're mentoring young people. I see it all the time. And then they're getting involved. And, you know, that's what it's really all about. So I'm glad that you're running, man. I really am. And
I appreciate
luck
you.
to you. Yeah, you know, just keep on pushing. And I've seen you on Facebook and some other things. You really are pushing it. And, you know, you got a lot of people behind you. So again, best of luck to you, you know.
I appreciate you, man. Our city deserves true leadership that isn't afraid, that isn't connected to any outside sources that have a plan in the background to do something harmful to the people that live here. I want to be a protector. So yes, I appreciate it.
Well, real quick, remind people when the election is.
May 16th, 2023. I'm number 5 on the ballot. You know, it's one vote, one voice, one community. I just want to be a voice for the people that usually aren't heard. I plan to stay in the community, even as a council member, still doing the work that I'm doing. Even though city council is part-time, it's full-time work. So you have to stay present. I plan to remain accessible. But May 16th, 2023, number 5 on the ballot. A vote for me is a vote for yourself. All right, Brother Lamont, thanks again, man. And God bless you. God bless all of you who are watching the program. Let's make our community a better community. Let's just do something positive for our community, okay? Well, listen, see you next time here on The Voice, 17104 Harrisburg. Good night. Sir. All right.